Imagine, if you will, a time long past, an age when Christianity was but a tender shoot, stretching its young roots across ancient lands, reaching into distant cultures, seeking the hearts of people unfamiliar with its teachings. This was a time of powerful encounters, where faith met diverse traditions, adapting, blending, and growing richer with each step. And in this vast tapestry, a figure of wonder and awe emerged, the Black Madonna. Her image, dark-skinned, solemn, and steadfast, is not merely painted or sculpted but was born in spirit, a testament to resilience, mystery, and enduring faith. Depicted as a dark-skinned Virgin Mary, sometimes cradling her child, she is more than art. She is a living symbol, deeply revered by Catholic and Orthodox Christians, embodying divine protection, strength, and cultural pride. To behold her is to glimpse something sacred, layered with history and spirituality that echoes across generations. Take a moment to recall when Pope John Paul II, in 1987, made his pilgrimage to the Black Madonna of Częstochowa in Poland. For Polish Catholics, she was not merely an icon but a beloved guardian, a mother who had watched over them in their darkest hours, a symbol of a nation's unbreakable spirit. This image is layered with meaning. Her dark complexion is an invitation, calling to our hearts to ask, why is she thus? And, more profoundly, what does she reveal to us? These questions, simple yet deeply moving, lead us on a journey, one that transcends time, reaching into the very roots of faith, strength, and our shared human identity. If this story stirs something in you, if you sense the depth of her mystery and want to walk this path of faith and history, then join us, subscribe, and come journey into the heart of the Black Madonna's legacy, a journey of faith, courage, and the timeless wisdom that this sacred image has gifted to generations. I'd like to begin with a review of the history of Black Madonna, extending it back in early Christian iconography. There are various historians and scholars of art with theories on why these pictures have dark-skinned Madonnas. Some have said this could be a resultant factor from natural aging or from soot from candle burning in dimly lit churches. They maintain that such exposure, over a period of time, might have darkened these statues or paintings, particularly the ones situated near the altars. While this may be true for certain instances, it does not explain the broad examples found across Europe and the particular ways in which Black Madonna icons gain the attention of so many Christian communities. The Black Madonna becomes more understandable if taken within an even broader perspective of Christianity's movement across times and cultures. When, in 325 CE, the Roman Emperor Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea, Christianity began turning from a grassroots faith into the official state religion of the Roman Empire. This proved to be a turning point, for it was the attempt of Constantine to reconcile the divergent views upon Christian dogma in one unity, which came to define the shape of Christianity for many centuries thereafter. As the Roman Empire expanded, so too did Christianity, across continents and into diversified cultures. Wherever Christianity traveled, it was transformed in each region into variant cultural expressions that, in turn, fashioned an iconography peculiar to that tradition. The local artists began to express Mary and Jesus in ways that would be relatable to the people around them. In some cases, this merely meant that Mary and Jesus were expressed with darker features or skin tones, echoing the look of the populations that venerated them. This combination of faith and culture, therefore, resulted in some unique depictions of Mary that had her with a dark skin hue, a spiritual picture rather highly connected with the faithful. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, therefore, Christianity did not just go into oblivion, but the Church continued unabated, to grow and adapt. The Roman Catholic Church became its own institution, with centralized leadership under the Pope, while the Eastern Orthodox Church held sway in Byzantium. During this era, the Black Madonna image took root both as a religious image and as a statement of cultural belonging. This iconic image of Mary has, for centuries, been a strong icon of faith and resilience in the communities deriving their strength from her image. Why, then, does the image of the Black Madonna hold such power of attraction? To thousands of believers around the world, the image of Mary with dark skin means much more than an artist's choice. It is a symbol of divine love, inclusivity, and maternal compassion. It is also more or less repeated in the discussions of Black Madonna because, especially in the passage from the Song of Solomon, "I am black, but beautiful," the identity of the Madonna is especially embodied as compassionate, sympathetic one to suffer with humankind and participate in their sorrows and joys. Artists, by depicting Mary in a manner that made her stand with those outside the mainstream, and the faithful constructed an icon that spoke much to those who had known pain and ostracism. To early Christian communities, especially in medieval times, these images spoke volumes of promise and security during troubled times. In a world where life was often brutal and precarious, the Black Madonna became an icon of comfort, a maternal figure who empathized with the suffering of the faithful. Another source of the toughness of this Black Madonna image has to do with the Crusades and religious wars. When Pope Urban II initiated the Crusades in the 11th century, religious imagery provided a rallying point for Christian soldiers. During these times, some images of Jesus and Mary were deliberately whitened to create an image more fitting to their Western counterpart. But even while this shift did occur, the Black Madonna continued to endure within some communities, a God accepting of all people, of whatever race or background. The Black Madonna represents faith that extends beyond the boundaries, thereby uniting cultures into one in mutual respect and reverence. The importance of the Black Madonna further scales high when specific Catholic and Orthodox communities come into view, since she is held at a very special place. Some of the most famous icons of the Black Madonna are to be found in Poland and Spain. For example, the Black Madonna of Częstochowa is certainly not just an image, but a national symbol of the implacability and strength of the Polish nation. Even today, she is often called the grieving mother of Poland, believed by the people to be miracle-working, especially in times of national crisis. According to legend, when the Swedes invaded Poland in the 1600s, the Black Madonna watched over and protected her people from destruction. In time, the account of this event became embedded in the cultural consciousness of Poland. To this day, the Black Madonna of Częstochowa remains a symbol of unification, survival, and faith. In Spain, the Black Madonna of Montserrat is considered comparably a part of Catalonian lore. Our Lady of Montserrat has miraculous healing powers, according to believers, and a shrine dedicated to her is a place of pilgrimage for believers of the world. Her presence in Catalonia underlines the fact that the Black Madonna is not just a religious icon but a cultural one, the representative of the endurance and spiritual strength of a people. These cherished icons serve as a reminder that the Black Madonna has transcended the status of an image of the Virgin Mary into an ongoing cultural and religious figure, cherished and celebrated not only because of her unique depiction of hope, protection, and pride, but for so much more. During the Renaissance period, a significant transition took place in religious art when world-famous artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci presented the Western world with the image of a Jesus who was supposed to be fairly skinned and with eyes of blue color. These depictions quickly became the standard within European Christianity, portraying how believers were supposed to envision religious figures. Jesus was painted with fair skin, blue eyes, and distinctly European features, an idealized image that still holds a strong place in much of the world today. However, such portrayals are sharply juxtaposed against earlier images much more aligned with the Middle Eastern origins of both Jesus and Mary. This shift in imagery paralleled European colonialism. As the European powers began their journeys to explore and colonize new territories, this image of Jesus as a fair-skinned character was exported well beyond Europe. In West Africa, the notion of a white Jesus was presented to the native people through the missionary efforts of the colonizers, symbolizing not only spiritual leadership but also the prevalence of European culture. The light-skinned Jesus became a prop in the colonizers' hands. He helped them entrench their power and discriminate against the culture of the native inhabitants. The picture of white Jesus was an efficient propaganda means to promote the interests of Europeans and at the expense of local cultures and identity. This stance and representation has led modern Christian communities to continue debating the historicity and theological implications of such a representation of Jesus and Mary as racialized. In contemporary times, when issues of representation and diversity are on every front, the Black Madonna image is a very potent counter-narrative to the societal norms imposed on it. She invites us to revise some of our deepest presumptions and to welcome the diversity that has always characterized Christian faith. The story of the Black Madonna sucks us into a world where deep faith, identity, and resilience are interconnected. This one particular image has for centuries linked believers across cultures, a strong symbol of devotion and heritage. What started out as a local tradition among some Christian communities grew into a powerful symbol of inclusivity and faith. The representation of the Virgin Mary with dark skin strikes a chord in people in so many different ways because it unites so many themes that are compassionate, struggles, and sets an example of love universally. The Black Madonna has traditionally comforted and given hope to communities in times of hardship. She is a counter-narrative with the more conventional, westernized religious representations of her. Through those very representations, she places Marianne by that very fact, Jesus in solidarity with the most marginalized. This dark-skinned representation of Mary suggests a God who knows and cares about the forgotten and the downtrodden. To many, through personal experiences, such images have brought hope to them that their faith too is strong, compassionate, and open to all. Her abiding appeal, the Black Madonna, speaks to profound emotional and spiritual resonance she evokes, urging believers to understand the divine as closely bound with the human condition, most especially the condition of those who feel most disenfranchised or misunderstood. Beyond aesthetic choice, the appeal of the Black Madonna lies in one of deeper cultural significance, testifying to the diversity within the Christian tradition. The Black Madonna has been associated, in countries where these images are deeply venerated, with stories that often become legendary and events reported as miraculous. In Poland, for instance, the Black Madonna of Częstochowa has been associated with miracles, especially during periods of invasion and political unrest, protecting the Polish people in times of crisis. This icon, because of it, has become a national pride and becomes the icon of hope and strength from Poles. Her spread is not limited within Poland, rather. Black Madonnas have been reckoned throughout Europe and some parts of Africa for their alleged powers. She attracts pilgrims who see her as a source of spiritual guide, healing, and comfort. This shared veneration underlines how the Black Madonna has come to represent not only religious devotion but also cultural identity and unity. Her image remained an inspiration to devotion for the medieval age and well on into the Renaissance period, captivating believers and artists alike. When the Renaissance, an age of incredible artistic research and expression, came upon the scene, new images of Jesus and Mary began to appear. It is during this period that artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci popularized the Europeanized notion of Jesus Christ, where Jesus is rendered with light skin, blue eyes, and stereotypical European features. Such an idealized Jesus then took over Western Christian art and in no time became a yardstick by which believers from across the Western world came to imagine religious figures. Yet, while these Europeanized images became more popular, the Black Madonna remained a figure in many communities. To those who continued to utilize her, the Black Madonna was also a reminder that Christianity does not belong to one race or culture. Her image provided a counterbalance to the more Eurocentric depictions becoming common, the message of Christianity universal, reaching all races and ethnicities. It was during this period of European colonialism that the iconography of a white Jesus coursed its way throughout the world into Africa, the Americas, and Asia. Jesus became a point with which to claim cultural dominance, where his image was seen as the European face of God, or the right kind of Christianity. In West Africa, for example, such an advent of this white Jesus signified the very beginnings of European dominance over local traditions and spiritual customs. An image of a white Jesus served to symbolize colonial power and further an ongoing racialized subtext that marginalized the indigenous populations and erased the diversity within early Christian history. It was against such a backdrop that the Black Madonna would appear as a jarring alternative, a portrait of Mary that spoke more to their identities and experiences. She reminds people of the roots of Christianity in the different cultures of the ancient Mediterranean and Middle East, going as far back as believers have a heritage beyond the narratives that colonial masters provided. In light of the dominating narratives, the image of the Black Madonna has gained new meaning in recent debates about race, representation, and inclusivity with respect to religious iconography. Today, when society is so emphasized on various diversity criteria, the Black Madonna turned into the icon of a more expansive, inclusive kind of Christian faith. Her image can provoke exclusive views, presenting new perspectives for thinking about the presentation of religious figures and what these presentations might mean in a multicultural world. For the modern reader, the Black Madonna reminds that throughout its history, Christianity has tolerated a rich expression of cultures, which, when combined, add depth and richness to the tapestry of faith. Her presence encourages believers to love an even more inclusive expression of divinity, one that celebrates unity without erasing diversity. At the heart of the Black Madonna is an inconcretization of divine love and compassion which embraces all, especially those who claim to be on the periphery or truly invisible. Her dark skin shatters many centuries of stereotypes with a vision of Mary inclusive of all peoples as tied together by common faith. This inclusivity has made her an enduring symbol for communities around the world, a figure that keeps calling in believers to see the divine reflected in all faces, whichever race or ethnicity might be associated with those faces. Through her, believers are reminded that the sacred can be found within everyone, affirming the dignity and worth of each individual. In fact, the Black Madonna is a very strong unifying force. Her image brings together people from every kind of background, each finding in her something deeply meaningful. In Poland, she stands for the symbol of national resilience, a figure who has shared in the Polish people's struggles through the ages. In Spain, she represents the spirit of Catalonia, a reminder of a region's unique cultural and spiritual legacy. And for communities of color, she takes on the form of a Christianity that is meaningful and connected to the local culture and history. Through her connections that blend the different visions together, the Black Madonna is an icon in quite a different position of uniqueness in the iconology of faiths, speaking to the universal while honoring the distinctiveness of those who venerate her. The place of the Black Madonna in today's world of questions of race and representation is unique and essential. Her image has become a focal point for those seeking a more inclusive vision of Christianity, one that embraces the diversity of its followers. Her presence calls us to reflect upon the imagery and storylines that have filled religious art for centuries, inviting the consideration of how such representations serve to sculpt our understanding of divinity. For believers who see themselves reflected in the Black Madonna, she stands as a symbol of hope and unity and the infinite depth of divine love. Her presence in all religious and cultural traditions worldwide speaks to the timely appeal of her message, one that honors the full spectrum of human identity and sanctity in every person's soul. The Black Madonna's story is very continuous, nourishing in reminding us that faith isn't about one image or interpretation. Her legacy presses us to consider just how perspectives about faith, culture, and identity have shaped and continue to shape understandings about the divine. In this way, the Black Madonna is an invitation to give beauty to diversity in our spiritual lives, to recognize something sacred in each one, and celebrate that faith as vast and inclusive as humankind itself. Her journey from past to present reminds us that Christianity is a living story, evolving its richness and vibrancy, growing with every new idea, culture, and heart it meets. As she is taken through the centuries, it is a story of the Black Madonna represented and symbolized as more than a religious icon. She stands out to pronounce the universality of the spiritual self, not to say how different cultural identities make faith themselves. Her image develops a call on believers to view the divine through a broader and more inclusive picture, so that partitions dividing diverse cultural expressions of Christianity can be crossed. The presence of the Black Madonna speaks to the unifying power of faith, to the recognition of shared dignity. A world where identity and representation have moved to such a zenith, she is a reflection both of ancient beliefs and a timely one for the value of inclusivity within the spiritual experience. Resilience and solidarity, these have been part of the Black Madonna legacy all along. Her presence in, among other places, Poland and Spain is often accompanied with legends of miraculous intervention and divine protection. These stories are not stories of peoples as mere folklore, but touching on emotions and spirituality of communities that have faced oppression, foreign invasion, and the struggles of maintaining cultural identity. For instance, the Black Madonna of Częstochowa is an emblem in the culture of Poland, considered the lamenting mother of Poland. It has been said that her image is trusted enough to save the Polish in specific crises, especially when the Swedes invaded Poland in the 1600s. Such moments shared in belief and hope underscore her role as protector and emblem of divine presence in adversity. In this respect, she is more than a religious icon. She is a cultural touchstone, a figure that epitomizes resilience and unity among people tested by history. The continued popularity of the Black Madonna speaks just as well to the facility of religious imagery to resonate on an intimate level. She has brought people of all walks of life together, through the centuries, into shared spaces of prayer, reflection, and devotion. She acts almost like a memento that religious icons can be much more than objects of worship but signs of identity, belonging, and personal resilience. Wherever the Black Madonna is in veneration, believers come together and congregate not only in seeking spiritual guidance and insight, but also in affirming the cultural identity of themselves through the realized bonds of community. Such coming together emphasizes the Black Madonna as a binding figure, one that connects people through beliefs and experiences shared within a group, thereby reinforcing the communal identity of self. Thus, the Black Madonna inspires new generations and changes conventional discourses, bearing in her imagery a vision of Christianity that really reflects diversity and inclusiveness. Her dark skin and sharply African or Mediterranean features stand sharply against the more Eurocentric depictions of Mary and Jesus that have dominated Christian art in the West over the centuries. Such images suggest viewers rethink what race and representation are in religious traditions and call to reevaluate the ways in which both cultural and racial identity are represented within the Christian narrative. For viewers who can look into her image, the Black Madonna has become a powerful figure of validation, reminding her that her identity is absolutely affirmed in the story of Christ. In the last few decades, the global Christian community has shifted its conversation into one of inclusivity and representation. As people are looking for expressions of faith that reflect their cultural identities, the Black Madonna has emerged as the focus of discussions about race and diversity in religious iconography. She is a Madonna in the sense that she has been reclaimed and reinterpreted by communities trying to expand their concepts of traditional representation through religious figures, particularly in parts of the African diaspora and amongst African American Christians. In these cultures, she represents a form of Christianity closest to their lives and their culture. She is also a reminder that faith cannot be reduced to one image or interpretation alone, but is instead a story always in motion, wherein the plot thickens with new insights and experiences. This image of the Black Madonna carries special meaning in the annals of African American history. The dark-skinned portrayal of Mary serves as a strong affirmation of the inherent dignity and sacredness of Black identity. The Black Madonna thus challenges these narratives, giving a vision of the divine that embraced Blackness not as an afterthought or aberration, but as intrinsic to the human story. Black communities have lived through legacies of slavery, segregation, and systemic racism within a society in the United States that has often devalued or marginalized their experiences. Representing a God to those African American believers who truly understands and identifies with their struggles, this Black Madonna is that divine presence that walks with those believers through trials and joins in their triumphs at celebrating those moments of resilience. The divineness of this Black Madonna gives comfort, strength, and spiritual affirmation to those excluded from the more traditional images of the divine. This makes the Black Madonna something much greater than a symbol, touching deep theological themes of redemption, empathy, and solidarity in her very nature. Her image invites believers into the mystery of divine compassion, pointing to ways in which God's presence shows up in the lives of all people. She becomes the embodiment that divinity knows no racial and cultural divides, but reflects the universality of the human experience. In the image of the Black Madonna, who carries with her some of the pain and struggle, the joy that's deeply connected with marginalized communities, the God is a vision that is in tune with the struggles and lives of ordinary people. The image tells us at its core that faith is a function of commonalities and recognition of each other's sacredness despite differences. The theological import of the Black Madonna may indeed be especially high in the context of modern Christianity's shift to the global South. As Christianity's center moves south from Europe and North America, the Black Madonna becomes an icon for a more global and ecumenical faith. Her image embodies the rich diversity at the heart of the Christian tradition, a poignancy underscored by the assertion that Christianity is not tied in with one cultural or racial type. It is not a religion of exclusivity, but embracing and celebrating many forms, one adding richness and meaning to the combined understanding of the divine. The Black Madonna challenges the traditional, Eurocentric portrayals that have long dominated Christian art and invites believers to move into an expanded vision for faith, one honoring the diversity of identity and experience of its adherents. In a larger view, the Black Madonna acts as a reminder of the historical origins of Christianity within the multifarious cultures of the ancient Mediterranean and African worlds. Well before the expansion of European colonialism, Christianity was an energetic, vibrant religious movement that expressed itself in various parts of Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. This early history is blended into the image of the Black Madonna, as such, briefly challenging the aforementioned socially embedded narrative that Christianity is inherently a Western faith. Her presence in African and Mediterranean communities reminds us that the Christian story has always been shaped by a wide range of cultural influences that each adds to a richer and more nuanced understanding of the divine. By invoking the Black Madonna, believers realize how Christianity has global and multicultural dimensions, a faith greater than any single community that has bound peoples together across time and space in shared devotion. The story of the Black Madonna continues to inspire and transform all who come into contact with her through to this day, reminding us that faith has not got to do with static images or fixed interpretation. She is the lively witness of resistance and versatility in religious expression, which develops and grows every time it meets new conceptions, cultures, and hearts. In her, believing people are challenged to a more inclusive vision of their faith, with the worth of diversity and the sacredness of every other human being. Her relevance in religious and cultural life across the world speaks for itself about how the timeless appeal of her message resonates in each soul, finding the divine within one another while honoring the beauty of shared humanity. In this way, the Black Madonna provokes us to think differently about the construction of religious narratives and how such narratives impact our understanding of identity, belonging, and the divine. Her image challenges us to recognize the value of all people, to celebrate the richness of human experiences, and to seek unity in our common search for meaning and relationship. This is why we remember her legacy, as faith is not a monotonous story, but a rich tapestry that goes ahead to become deepened in hue and vibrancy with every new thread. The Black Madonna invites us to position ourselves within this greater story, to find our place in the large, intertwined world of spiritual tradition, to celebrate our differences as reflections of the divine. The Black Madonna's journey through history, across cultures and across continents, tells a story that is deeply human yet profound. However, as we look through her history, we may well behold an image that is not rooted in time and space, but rather crossed freely between various realities, linking human beings through such common involvements of beliefs, tenacity, and love. Those communities whom she belongs to will not consider the Black Madonna as merely a religious icon. She is a message beyond such classic boundaries, deep into the hearts of men and women belonging to racial, linguistics, and national backgrounds. She represents a faith that interprets the darkness and light of life and seeks the holy in every human life. Her dark skin and bold features give strong statements about a faith that understands it must embrace all human experience and promote the holy in every life. The role of the Black Madonna becomes progressively poignant for today's world, being a symbol of unity and compassion. At a time when questions of identity and belonging are central to global conversations, her image invites us to look beyond surface differences and recognize the shared values that connect us. In places where the Black Madonna is revered, believers gather not only to worship but to find a sense of identity, of belonging, and of continuity with the past. Her image reinforces the thought that faith is not merely a belief but a living relation to others, to history, and to divinity. And her people are reminded that faith must be all the sturdiest when it is open, compassionate, and inclusive of all who seek succor, guidance, or inspiration. The presence of the Black Madonna, therefore, in African, European, and worldwide Christian communities also testifies to the adaptability and inclusive nature of Christianity itself. Her image is a reflection of how religious traditions are grown and changed to mold themselves into the needs and values of every generation. In this manner, the Black Madonna is a representation of continuity and change. She links the ancient with the modern, providing a vision of faith that is just as varied and rich as it is vast. She is the Black Madonna, standing there holding Jesus, and to those who look upon her image, she provides them with a strong affirmation of their place within the Christian story, a story that welcomes all people, honors all identities, and recognizes the sacred in all lives. A kind of ecumenism inspires countless others to consider how they perceive the divine and how they relate to others. The Black Madonna challenges us to look at our own biases, to question in what ways the traditional image may limit our understanding and open our hearts wider to new interpretations of what is holy. For those who venerate her, she is a constant reminder that the divine dwells in every culture, every color, and every person who seeks a connection with something greater. The Black Madonna invites someone into a way of seeing that is expansive, rich, and generous in its rootedness in empathy and respect for all people. It is within embracing the Black Madonna that the believer is welcome to view his or her own story as part of a greater, more interconnected narrative that stretches across generations and brings people together through shared faith and shared humanity. Her icon summons us to remember that our differences are not obstacles to be overcome but beautiful expressions of diverse ways in which the divine is revealed. The Black Madonna legacy calls us to action. Faith should inspire us to reach out, listen, and honor the dignity of everyone we meet. She asks that we look upon each other, ourselves, as reflections of the holy in each life as part of a far greater spiritual journey. The Black Madonna has stirred the imagination into faith for believer and non-believer alike, the deep consideration of us to the nature of faith, the meaning of compassion, and the value of diversity within our spiritual lives. She thus creates an enduring appeal, the timeless message of what she represents. It speaks to the heart of the matter as to what it is to be human, to seek to understand, and find one's connectedness with others. Through the Black Madonna, this is a world that often feels divided, standing as a symbol of unity, hope, and bonds unbroken between each and every one of us. She reminds us that at its best, faith invites us to embrace each other, to celebrate what we have in common as human beings, and to find a little bit of the divine in the person before us. In honoring the Black Madonna, we honor a vision of faith that is hospitable, inclusive, and always welcoming. Her life is a reminder that regardless of who we are or where we come from, we all share in something greater, a broad and connected world of belief, values, and hopes across cultures and generations. That's what there is in the legacy of the Black Madonna, to transcend all differences and celebrate shared beauty. She was the icon of hope, the call to unity, the testimony of faith that unites people in understanding, mercy, and love. As she went on to tell her story, so did the message, an endless message that resounded through lives and hearts for generations to come, reminding us always that the divine is resident not in statues or icons, but in the essence of our common humanity.